Hi, my name is Anne from OmFlowYogi.com, and today we are going to have an introduction to meditation. Let's start with, what is meditation? Meditation is simply present moment awareness. And I like to think of meditation as weightlifting for our brains. Our brains are wired for survival, not for well-being. And especially during times of heightened stress and stimulus, our amygdala, the lizard part of our brain, fight, flight, or freeze, becomes hyperactivated. Meditation is an active awareness of what's going on, and that engages our prefrontal cortex, the front part of our brain that's responsible for executive functions. It's also the part of the brain that can process stimulus, understand what's going on, and then determine how we want to react from there. Meditation is sitting with what is. It's engaging that prefrontal cortex for present moment awareness. We're not on automatic pilot. We're not engaging that amygdala. And we're also not stuck in the past and the future. The more consistent our practice is, the more available this prefrontal cortex is during our everyday life. So if I'm having a challenging conversation with my partner, my kids, and I have better availability of that prefrontal cortex, I'm less likely to go into fight, flight, or freeze the moment something uncomfortable happens. That is why this meditation practice is so beautiful, especially right now. So we talked about what it is, present moment awareness, why it's important, what it does with our brain so that prefrontal cortex works out, how it will help us in our social situations and beyond. Let's talk about how to meditate. You do not have to be cross-legged on a cushion, although if you do, good for you, if that brings you joy. But you could also sit on a chair. Do whatever you need where you can be alert in your body, but also relaxed, where you can breathe easy. From there, we find our anchor. And then lastly, thoughts are going to come in and thoughts are going to go. And that's perfectly fine. That's normal. The bicep curl for the brain happens when we notice we're lost in thought and we come back. We're lost in thought and we come back. I love the visual of sitting at the side of a busy road and just seeing the cars whizzing by. And those are our thoughts, just whizzing by in our headspace. And instead of running after a car, a thought, we can sit and even have an idea of curiosity of like, oh, how interesting that I'm thinking about that, but now I'm feeling my breath. There's no way to be bad at meditating because the coming back is really the magic. That's when the meditation happens because we become aware. I'm lost in my grocery list. Oh my gosh, I need to come back. So give yourself some grace there. Let's talk about what meditation is not. Meditation is not clearing the mind of all thought. I've never met a human being that can do that. Do not think that that's what you should be doing. Thoughts will come and go. That is how our brain is wired, and that is beautiful because that wonderful brain is keeping you alive. We are just exercising the part of the brain to give us that present moment awareness. So we are more present in every part of our life. Next, meditation isn't always great. It's not always butterflies and sunshine. So do not feel that you are doing it wrong if you are sitting and it's hard and your heart is heavy. There's a lot going on. That is beautiful, and that is what your practice needs to be. Now, of course, if you get into a space where you feel unsafe, uncomfortable sitting with yourself, then please shift to something else and find other resources to help you. But do not think that your meditation practice has to be beautiful all the time. And lastly, it's not philosophical. It is to be experienced. So that's what we're going to do. So go ahead, Get yourself all nice and comfortable. Sometimes I like to shake my sillies out a little bit. And you'll notice I automatically close my eyes, but you don't have to. You can have a light gaze in front of you. You can do this anywhere, except don't operate machinery while you're doing this. Like, you can do it while you're waiting in line at the grocery store, or in a space where you just need a few minutes for yourself. So not closing your eyes could make it so other people don't notice you're doing this. And then from there, start to notice your breath. So for today's little mini meditation, it's all going to be breath focused. So I'm going to invite you to feel your breath all the way down into your low belly. And then give a nice little exhale and let it all go. And continue to breathe in a way that feels supportive for you. As you notice the breath, see how the front part of your body feels as the air comes in, as the air releases. How does the back body feel? Can you feel your low back? Can you feel your shoulders relaxing? Just being fully present with how it feels to breathe in your body. Thoughts certainly have started coming into your mind, and that is beautiful. With a curious mind, we go, how interesting that thought came in. But what I'm going to do is return to feeling my breath. Maybe asking myself, what tempo of breath would feel really good for me right now? And then pairing our breath with something to help us, I invite you to think of one word that would fill your cup today. So maybe it's love, joy, peace, understanding, forgiveness. Just pick a word. And for 2 breaths, we're going to imagine that word as we inhale. And then however you want to exhale, imagining that word. And then one last round. Inhale. Maybe I'm inhaling love. And I'm going to exhale love. And just returning to a breath that feels really good to me. I'm going to bring my awareness back into every part of my body. Start to wiggle my fingers and my toes. And if my eyes are closed, open them up. Just sit with, how do I feel after a few minutes of simply breathing? Now, there are a tremendous amount of resources out there, and I'm going to link a lot of the really good ones, especially for beginners, in the notes below. I invite you to find a practice that feels good to you. And before we end this video, a lot of the questions that I get after I present this to a group is, how often do I have to meditate to make a difference? And what I'll tell you is, just like a bicep curl, you can't just lift a weight once and think like, my muscles are going to be amazing for the rest of my life. I don't need to do that. Consistency is important to feel the impact of this practice. But if you just do 5 minutes a day, that's amazing. You will start to see the benefits. And then maybe you expand it to 10 and beyond. I personally don't feel that I need more than 20 minutes a day to feel really grounded and a beautiful impact from my meditation practice. This is really personal an experience for you, but I would say doing it with some regularity, you'll see more of that impact. The next question I get a lot is there a perfect time of day for me to meditate? And my answer is, whatever time of day you can do consistently. Personally, I have to flex my schedule. I'm a working mom with 2 very young kids. I have to have some flexibility and some grace in my practice. So sometimes it's in the morning. Sometimes it's in the middle of the afternoon when I get 5 minutes of quiet. Sometimes I do it at the end of the day to just release a really challenging experience. So I invite you to find an opportunity to give yourself some grace. Where can I find some consistency in my schedule? Start small. 2 minutes, 5 minutes. That's a beautiful space. And know that what you're doing is not only making a great impact for you, but for everyone around you. So with that, the light in me bows to the light in all of you. Namaste.